Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. This is the third time I filmed this because I go off on tangents where I actually slip real names of companies and people involved in this story, and that's not something I want to do. So I'm going to hope to get through this without doing that. This is a frustrating update. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm very frustrated. I am very fed up right now. And if nothing else, this is going to serve as a public service announcement for surrogates and intended parents. Because what I'm going through right now should not be gone through by anybody. So, last time I made it 12 minutes into the video before I made a slip. And so I really have to like reel it in because I was like, and then it just came out. So I gotta be more careful and more mindful when I speak. So I'm gonna attempt to do that. So if you see me looking like I'm uncomfortable, it's because I totally am. Okay, so basically the last time we spoke, I told you guys about the contract and how we had a talk with the lawyer and we had some homework where I had to get a copy of Georgia's insurance policy. Okay, so I thought that was not only normal for this stage in the game, but also I thought that it was going to be like something easy because she does have a right to her insurance policy, so I thought she could easily just boop, pull it, and she works for a very large company, and so I thought, well, they probably have a whole department for that just can produce it to her, right? So let me backtrack a little bit to say specifically that when my husband and I were on the phone with our lawyer going over this contract, and we got to the section where it talked about coverage for insurance, and we said, you know, she said, you're responsible for copays and deductibles, it says here. And that was from our terms sheet. That's what was sent to us originally, the thing that just kind of told us what everything was going to cost and what we were going to be responsible for. And we were like, it didn't say like, if her insurance covers it. It didn't say, you know, provided that her insurance is, you know, approved for surrogacy, blah, blah, blah. That just said what we were covering, which means, and I'm not the surrogacy coordinator. I've never done this before. I don't know that I'm assuming that this is, because this is a list, this was after we already had picked a surrogate, right? Like this is when we already had decided on Georgia. Then we get the terms sheet based on what was presented to her originally, you know, too, when she was like, I want to be a surrogate. And they were like, okay, this is how that's going to work, blah, blah, blah. And so we're both on the same page. Then we receive this terms sheet that says that we would be in charge of copays and deductibles, which to us, we would pay for whatever. If she needs insurance, if she, whatever, like it has nothing to do with, we aren't upset because, you know, oh, we don't know, you know, we were expecting to pay this much. It turns out that has nothing to do with it. The problem is, and for all of my girls and whoever that's watching this that has reached out to me from my last frustrating update and with all the support and who have gotten riled up with me, prepared to be riled up again because it gets real. So when the lawyer told us that we needed to get a copy of her insurance policy, it wasn't even like, oh, please see paragraph 1, section C. This is now where you'll go make sure that her insurance covers it. It was like, you guys are responsible for copays and deductibles, to which my husband said, I assume so. And the lawyer's like, well, that's what her insurance policy said, right? And we're like, we don't know. I mean, we never got a copy of it. We assumed that that was something that the agency does as a background check for her. I'm not in communication with her, so I can't ask her to do that. Whatever, all the coordinating that's done on her side, the psych visit, her appointments, I can't coordinate that. Still to this point, I'm doing my half and she's doing her half with the agency, and they're supposed to coordinate in between. That's literally their job. And so she goes, yeah, I get a copy of the policy. And I'm thinking like, well, okay, this is when that is usually done then, right? I don't know. So since then, I have learned that generally speaking, the surrogates know what their insurance, like that's something you find out before you even decide to be, like that's usually what the agency will tell you, like, okay, we need to make sure that you meet all the parameters, and this is something that is, you need to know so that intended parents are aware when choosing you, because it can be more desirable if somebody has an insurance policy that covers everything but copays and deductibles. We personally don't care. This isn't based on how much money things cost. This is based on the person whose body we are using. Like that's what we care about. But I'm just saying that generally speaking, that is what happens beforehand. And even if it doesn't, And we get all the way to contract, and that hasn't even been brought up yet. And now we've got to get that information. You'd assume that would be a quick thing. Oh, I'll just go grab it, right? She works for a very large company. Georgia does. So I'm sure there's a whole department for that. She could probably just grab it, right? That's what I'm assuming. So I reach out to Linda, the surrogacy coordinator, and I say, we need a copy of her insurance policy. That's just so that we know. And she's like, oh, okay. Because you have to remember, I'm not in contact with Georgia, so I can't just ask Georgia for it. I'm assuming Linda has this on file because that would make sense, right? That would be like the normal thing you'd think would be. She sends me a copy of her insurance card. It tells me what the deductibles are. It tells me what her copays are, and it tells me like her group number. And so I talked to the lawyer, and I'm like, oh God. I'm like, hey, here you go. And she's like, that's not what we need. We need a copy of everything that is and isn't included in the policy. And she said, I suggest you also have an insurance agent review it all, so they know what they're looking for. You're not going to be able to comb through that whole document and pick out everything specifically. You're going to just need to know what you're in for. And I'm like, that should be easy to get, right? Like, she has the right to her policy. She can probably just get it. I'm still thinking like Linda's got that. So I'm like, Linda, no. And there's like a name of what that is called specifically, like what that explanation of everything is. I don't know what it is at the time, but I come back to her and I say like, no, this is what we need. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, this is news. And she says, I'll ask Georgia to get it. I'm like, okay. So then I hear back later in the day, because I reach out, of course. She doesn't just give me an update, and says, oh, it can take up to 5 business days because they have to like request it, I guess. And I'm like, fine, okay, 5 business days, it doesn't seem that long. We can do that. So then how long goes by before I even hear anything? At least a week, business day week. So at least 7 business days, because I'm not crazy, and I'm not going to like contact her day 5 and be like, where is it? I just don't want to be that person. That's not who I am. So we wait, I give her a week, business day week. Hey, just checking in. How's it going? How are you? Any word on the whatever? Meanwhile, my fertility office, the one that has the embryos, has emailed me twice and said, just want you to know, like, sorry guys, I got a phone call while I was recording. And then I tried to pick back up where I left off, and I made another slip of a name. So I'm in all outside myself today because of this. So let's see, where I left off, the fertility company has been contacting me, asking me what's going on, because everything on their end is ready. All they want to do is give Georgia the go ahead to stop the medication. Like, is the contract back? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on. I'm still waiting, I'm frustrated. And the lawyer's reaching out to me asking the same thing. What's happening? Are we ready to send the contract over? Can I close this case? Whatever. The escrow company is doing the same, because I can't deposit any money in the escrow until we've signed the contract. So everybody's contacting me, asking me what's going on. And I don't know. I also don't feel like it's my problem to update these people. Well, I don't mind. All of them have first tried reaching out to Linda and asked her, because at this point, like, she's the middle person. She's the one who everybody is supposed to be dealing with for the most part, other than like our personal things, like getting my blood work, our side of the payment stuff. Other than that, like, she is the coordinator. That is literally her job. It is her title of her, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, and so I'm gonna skip more of the frustration and just fast forward to yesterday, when I finally get a text from Linda that says, hey, heard back from Georgia, and she's got the policy. Would you like me to send it over to an insurance agent, that like someone that she recommends? Because I don't know who would I call, like the health insurance company? I don't know, I don't know who to contact. So she was like, do you want me to just send it right over to the insurance person to review? And I was like, could you also send it to me though? I want to have a copy of it, because I don't trust that she's gonna just send it right. Like, I don't trust that, first of all, she's got it, and that she is gonna immediately send it over. And at this time, it's 4:30 p.m. yesterday, which I know everything's about to close, So I'm like, yeah, send me a copy of it too, and I'll follow up with him in the morning. And she's like, remind you, she reached out to me and said that it was ready and that she was going to send it, right? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much, and I'm just appreciative. I'm so glad I stayed patient and didn't lose my mind on this woman, even though she was the reason that we've been waiting, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still trying to be whatever. And so I was glad that I did, I was like, man, I'm so glad that I just like stayed cool and patient or whatever. So a couple hours go by. Of course, I hear nothing. Because she also said, after I said, yeah, could you send it to me and him? She said, yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I send it to make sure you get it, like via email or whatever. Because a lot of times she said she sent something and I never received it until days later when I was like, still haven't got that, And so then she can miraculously send it through. Okay, so never hear from her. At like 7 p.m. last night, I'm at dinner. And I get a text from her that's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I've read the email wrong. She doesn't have it yet. And the company keeps saying that she may not hear anything until August 1st. I'm like, keep your cool, Hannah. Like you don't have to do this. I know, because I can feel it. Like I'm having a hard time. And so I'm like, so you don't have it? That's how I responded. And I'm recording on my phone, but I would love to read you what I wrote back and forth because it would make the most sense. But anyway, so she's like, no, I don't have it. And I'm really sorry. I'll keep you updated. I said, is it common for people to be waiting on this at this point? I feel like this could have very easily been done sooner. And she said, I've never had it take this long before. I've never been held up like this before. It's never taken this long. I think it's because she works for a big company. And I'm like, I just feel like we could have known this earlier in the game. I don't understand why we waited till contract to start asking these questions. She's like, it usually doesn't take this long, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's not answering the question. She's not answering, I feel like this could have been done sooner. Why wasn't it? And I'm like, no, I get that, but this is something that doesn't change regardless. Like her benefits are her benefits. And whether it's us that she's a surrogate for or someone else, like this doesn't work out and she's still on there, you're still gonna need to know. And it didn't change based on whether we signed a contract or not. She's gonna need to know if her insurance company covers surrogacy, if she wants to be a surrogate, regardless. Why are we waiting until we're literally supposed to put our signature on a contract to just decide whether her insurance covers this or not? Like in the contract, it's already listed based on what you sent over to that company that we would do deductibles and copays. Like I said, I've never done this. I don't know that I'm supposed to find this out when this is what it says on here. It didn't say copays, deductibles, or you pay like out of pocket. It never said that. We're assuming that I'm assuming a lot of things on this contract is what it is based on what she's telling me because this is her job. This is not my job. I am the intended parent. My job is to give you money for what you're doing. And when you're not doing anything and I'm still giving you money, I have a problem with that. So she just doesn't get it apparently. And so I'm like, I just feel like this could have been done sooner. And she's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I've never seen it take this long. Like pushing the blame off of herself and just saying it's taking a long time. I'm like, why did we wait till contract to do this? Literally at this point, everything is held up right now because of just this. We could have already been pregnant. This could have already been done. All we are waiting on is to see if her insurance is going to cover this when we are willing to pay if it doesn't. This is bananas. This is bonkers at this point. Like my mind is blown. So after this, I go online, where all good things happen. And I'm looking up like summaries and blogs of other surrogacy processes because there really isn't a lot on YouTube, as I'm sure a lot of people have noticed. There's a lot of surrogates telling their story. There's not a lot of intended parents, and I get all the reasons why, because this is hard, clearly. And so I'm like looking up like it's specifically insurance related. And once again, I'm finding that insurance coverage is something that is decided before before the process starts, because it's important when deciding if you can afford this or not, and getting all the way to contract where you are about to, and it had never been caught by my lawyer or my husband even being like, because if it was me, I would be like, yeah, we're copays and deductibles. Like I wouldn't know to like say, well, I think so. Like my husband was like, he's very objective like that. Like you know, if he doesn't know something, he won't say like, yes, I know that as a fact. He'll just say, I assume so. Like, he's very careful with his tongue like that, which I wish that was me. You know, you see me, I've had to record this video 100 times because I can't control my tongue. And anyway, so I'm thankful that that happened. I'm not thankful that we're here now. And let me say, like, I have to keep bringing myself back because this is what everyone keeps telling me. God's time, all of this is going to align perfectly so that your baby is either here or isn't here at the right time. Like, I get it that the time is crucial either way and that we are probably delayed for a reason. I understand. I'm still allowed to be frustrated because this process is hard as it is. It's going to be difficult even if we could control every aspect. It's difficult because I can't carry my own children and I'm here right now. It's difficult because it costs almost $100,000. It's difficult because I can't control whether she gets pregnant or not. It's difficult, all the other things that you can't control. Things that you can control should not keep getting hung up. You know what I mean? Like, this is your job. You know what I mean? Your job is to make this easy. I could have gone out on the street and asked every single woman if she was willing to carry my baby for this amount of money, but I didn't do that. I asked an agency to coordinate it for me because I don't know what I'm doing. And so, like, why is this happening? And so, public service announcement to everybody out there who is in this process, doing this process, or whatever. If the agency, and say I'm being crazy, right? And that it's not the agency's responsibility. Somehow it's my responsibility to just know, to ask questions that, just make up questions to ask. Oh, do you have this? Do you have this? Like, to just assume. I'm also assuming that I'm assuming a lot of things. I'm not going to get into too specifics and act like a crazy what if person, but I'm trusting a lot of elements in here because I have to. And one of which is this agency and this woman specifically, because it's just her. A lot of people have said, oh, ask to use a different person at the agency, ask whatever. It is just her. She has an assistant who I've never had any dealings with. There is no other person to manage it. And honestly, at this point, if it didn't cost $10,000 up front before you even started any process, I wouldn't know that she was incompetent because you have to pay money so early on. If we hadn't already given all that money in, I'd be out of there because there's been a lot of other people since this come in and suggest other places. And I mean, God, I wish there was like a Yelp review system for this thing, but there's not. And, so basically, another unnecessary hiccup that we're waiting on for no reason. And it's every day that's going by is making it more obvious that we potentially picked the wrong person to manage all this. Like, this is not necessary. It is not necessary to feel like this. It is not necessary to be this stressed out over this. And I know that stress is my response to a situation and I can choose not to be stressed out. I'm choosing to be stressed out because this is ridiculous. Anyway, so I wish I had a better update for you guys. Literally, once we sign the contract, my fertility office is calling Georgia and saying you can stop the medication and we should have our transfer within 20 days from that. So we very easily could be a lot further along right now. I wish I had a better update for you. I don't. I have no motivation to film anything else. I really wanted to do my IVF story. I really wanted to do a breakdown of cost because that's really not going to change unless we have to get this insurance policy, which is literally what I'm waiting on to film that cost breakdown video. I'd love to do all these things. I don't have the motivation to do it right now because I just this whole thing is just making me so upset. I'm sorry that the tone of this video is what it is. I'm sorry that you guys have to see how frustrating it has to be, but I want honesty out there. I want people to know what they're getting into. I want people to be able to avoid these things. And if nothing else, let me live the mistakes or whatever so that you guys don't have to, so that not another mother has to go through this particular moment of this. Maybe you guys will know what to look for next time. I love you guys. I'm gonna have a better update soon. I just know it. Until then, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.